Welcome to First to 15, the only podcast that's trying to get you paid. I'm here with two-time FFPC champion AB. Alongside him is my guy, Dio the Machine. Guys, we are at the beginning of a new season, new players, new quarterbacks to discuss. I want to start off with one of those quarterbacks. Let's talk about Caleb. He's now going to be leading the Chicago Bears. What do you guys think about this receiving room that he's going to be walking into? I mean, it seems loaded. What do you guys make of how to draft the receivers here? Because, I mean, we got Keenan Allen. We saw what Keenan did last year.
Well, I mean, first of all, welcome back. I mean,
welcome
back. We didn't even like
it.
We went straight into it. All right.
Welcome back. Like, I mean, it's been a minute.
It ain't been a whole almost year.
Yeah, it's been a damn minute. So good to see you guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it feels good to be back in front of the mic. But yeah, whole new season. We post draft now. In the OTAs, so a lot of new faces in a lot of new places.
Yeah.
Not just players, head coaches, and that includes the Chicago Bears. So obviously Caleb being the number one overall pick, and then all the weapons and additions. You know, you already had DJ Moore, and then they brought in Keenan Allen, drafted Odunze. Still have Cole Kmet. Also added Gerald Everett. Added DeAndre Swift. All these people can catch passes.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and then their OC brought over from Seattle, Shane Waldron. Obviously, they kept the same head coach. I really have no clue what to make of this pass game.
Yeah.
I honestly don't. And in my mind, you know, I think, you know, you can approach it from obviously a dynasty standpoint, but really best ball and redraft standpoint. I think best ball, I have no issues with anyone like favoring one player, favoring all players, stacking, things like that. Because, you know, honestly, best ball in my mind is like a crapshoot. I mean, you know, I think it's more I think best ball is more like strategy as far as like how you build your teams and how you sort of kind of, you know, create your portfolio, you know, and very, to me, little to do with players, just because it's set it and forget it. Like you draft and then that's pretty much it. But redraft, to date, I've for the most part been fading these guys. I really have not been into any one player. I hate the fact that Keenan went to the Bears. I was,
me too.
you know, clearly I was huge on Keenan last year. I felt like that was you know, a big win that propelled a lot of my teams into playoffs and whatnot. But him going to the Bears, I just don't know. He could be their number one wide receiver. He could be their number 3 wide receiver. I don't play the injury game. I know a lot of people will like throw that into arguments as far as a guy's injury prone. I really hate that, especially in 2024. I think it's kind of I won't say a cop out, but I just think it, you know, to me, it doesn't do the argument and the discussion justice to say, well, you know, there's the injury factor, so-and-so, you know, because people will talk about Keenan Allen, you know, we expect or can, you know, potentially anticipate that he'll be injured because he's had injuries throughout his career. But Odunze is the actual one who's injured right now. So, you know, these things, you know, and then you look at last year.
What's Odunze's injury?
I think it's a hamstring. But Keenan could have come back last year. That team tanked, you know, and I think he actually probably could have played through it, to be quite honest. Like, that team was tanking. So I don't even want to call Keenan's injury last year a season-ending injury. Like, honestly, it sounded like he could have just, like, missed one game. But Herbert was out. Everybody was out. They were clearly tanking, trying to
But you can't fade that whole offense, though. So what do you do?
So I like Caleb. Pre-draft, I was getting a lot of him because he was going super late. He has like really risen up the board, at least in FFPC. I'm assuming an underdog ADP as well. I don't mind that. I'm now kind of moving away from him because he's he's moving up the board, and like now I'm, you know, gravitating to someone like Daniels. But
I mean, like in your last draft, I'm just looking at it now. It looks like he went in the 8th.
Yeah, that's
a little
too
too
high.
pricey.
That's way too high. That's way too high. And then like I think he went in the 8th, and then like this was like in the same, you know, just 2 picks after Joe Burrow and after Dak Prescott went. So I was like, hell no. So I waited. I just waited, and I took Daniels like in the 10th round, and even that was kind of early. But who also went in the 10th? Kyler Murray, Jordan Love. Like, I'm definitely taking those guys early because, yes, Caleb has potential, you know, rushing ability, but he's not a rusher. And he's still in a new offense. So it's just one of those things where I feel like you don't necessarily have to make that play. Like I would bet, like if you were asking me who's going to finish higher, Caleb Williams or Trevor Lawrence, I'm taking Trevor Lawrence. Who's going to finish with more fantasy points, Caleb Williams or Justin Herbert? I may take Herbert even in that crappy offense. Right. Caleb Williams versus Brock Purdy. I may take Purdy. Caleb Williams versus, I know y'all hate Deshaun Watson. I'm probably taking Watson. No. So, like, he's like, and I'm drafting multiple QBs, but, like, I liked him when he was late. I think, the fact that he's moving up the board is a little too much for me. So, the one pass catcher that I am targeting, and as long as his price stays suppressed, has been DeAndre Swift. And clearly he's not a pure pass catcher.
Am I tripping? Is Deshaun Watson not drafted in this draft?
Oh, he's drafted. He went fairly late.
The 18th.
I keep telling y'all he is like go back. I mean, yes, you can. I mean,
I don't know about drafting him that late.
They drafted Deshaun after Baker. That's Baker. So disrespectful.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
No, but my turn. So a few things. I'm going to touch on a few things that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
So real quick, you were talking about best ball and redraft, the differences, how best ball is a crapshoot. I don't want to say it's a crapshoot. I think you just have to approach them differently.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing for you. I know you're always talking about when you do your fantasy seasons or your planning, you look at it in quarters, right? You look at a quarter, first quarter, second quarter, all the way through. Best ball, that's where the big difference is in my opinion.
Yeah.
You can't look at it in quarters. You have to look at it in season totality because you're picking your team with whatever you're drafting, that's who you want to get you to the finish line by the end of the season.
Yeah.
So, and it's one of those things where, for me, I think it's just telling yourself a narrative. And you could tell yourself, the reason why I like best ball, you can tell yourself a million different narratives.
Yeah,
like I could tell myself a narrative. I can tell myself a narrative of the Buccaneers getting to the Super Bowl. Okay, how did they get to the Super Bowl? This happened, this happened, this happened. These players did well. Bam. I could get a scenario where the Seahawks. So, and I think that's why you have a lot of people that enjoy best ball. They tend to be mass drafters.
Yeah.
Because they're just trying to just kind of touch all those different scenarios, and hopefully one of them shakes out. So that's the first thing. The second thing, you were mentioning the receivers for the Bears. So I'm definitely off of Keenan Allen, and we kind of had this discussion last season. We can call it seasons, right? Okay. Yeah. We kind of had a discussion last season with Keenan Allen where I was like kind of concerned, and I had Keenan Allen a lot of my team, but at the same time I was kind of concerned with him being a little older and how injuries might play a part at some point. I was like, because remember that's when Mike Williams was out and Josh Palmer came. Okay, now Josh Palmer is here. If Keenan Allen goes down, who's the next man up? And we kind of had some back and forth with that. And, come to find out, right when the playoffs are about to start, Keenan Allen goes down. Now, whether he was truly injured all that time, who's to say? Yeah. I do recall, because I had him, I was depending on him. I think he did start to practice at the very end, but, eventually just didn't play. And you're right, they were out of contention, so it was probably part of that.
They said everybody.
But he was still injured. The injury did
but
play
a lot
of
guys, but I mean, if you use age as an injury, then you got to use that with Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, who missed more time.
Age. What we were saying was because he's now older, the risk of injury increases.
I don't necessarily know that that's true. That's what I'm saying, and I think the numbers.
I mean, whether it's true or not, it played out like he got hurt, right?
But Devontae Adams did not get injured. Justin Jefferson, who's younger, missed more games. Jamar Chase missed more games.
Jamar Chase did miss more games than Keenan Allen last year. But Jefferson did.
But Jamar Chase missed
Jefferson
some games.
Did have a major injury, though. I think Keenan Allen's, the issue with his was it wasn't a major injury. It was just a lingering injury.
I don't even think it was that. But the thing is, like, we can go down all the wide receivers that are significantly younger, and everybody missed a game. Tank Dell missed a significant amount of time.
But again,
Nico Collins missed a significant
amount of time. The point I'm making
is
we were talking about Keenan Allen maybe getting hurt, and he got hurt, right? So now we're talking a year later. He's with a new team. He's not a obvious better receiver than everybody else on the field. He could be the wide receiver 1, he could be wide receiver 2, he could be wide receiver 3. All those options, if by the end of the season those play out, we wouldn't be surprised. Right now, though, if I was to choose out of the 3, I like DJ Moore for number 1 because he's kind of in his contract year. He's kind of playing for money, and those motivations tend to give you a great output. And he's the one that's actually been in Chicago. Like he's actually
he knows the system.
It's a different system.
Not the system. But he knows the team. He knows the city.
But but what does that have to do with? It's a brand new OC.
No. I mean, right now we're talking margins. Everything we're talking margins right now because you can make a case for every single player. So I'm just saying there's certain things that are positive in DJ Moore's case. And then on top of that, honestly, the one I like the most is actually the rookie. And I like the rookie, number one. I think his skill set is better than all of them. Now, he's young, so he's definitely going to have a rookie curve to kind of, overcome. But I think he has the best skill set. He already had the rapport with Caleb Williams. I mean, they were kind of, practicing together even before the draft, without even knowing they were going to be on the same team. But the biggest reason is just the fact that he's the mystery box. Like, we know Keenan Allen. We know DJ Moore. We don't know Rome Odunze. We don't know what he's going to be. He could be a dud, or he could be a great wide receiver, which by this time next year, we ended up drafting him in the first
But
rounds.
I know Keenan Allen's a baller.
Right.
He balled. Last time I saw him, he balled
he
out.
was a baller with Justin Herbert in the Chargers offense.
He's been a baller with every quarterback that he's played.
He's only played with one quarterback.
He's played with.
I mean, I guess was he with Phillip Rivers too? Yeah. Just two then. Two great quarterbacks, right?
Okay, but he still balled out. It's two great
But
quarterbacks. They're not great quarterbacks.
You're talking about he's balling out in his younger years. Like that Keenan Allen is gone. Like
this was Keenan Allen last year. Last
year
he was a top 5 wide receiver. This is last year.
Right, but he was with last year with Herbert, who they had a rapport. He knew the system. Like everything was there. He was and on top of that, he was their best receiver. There was Mike Williams was there, but he had been injured. He's never been a thing. There was no other receivers on the Chargers. Right?
I get that. I'm not saying that he for sure is the best wide receiver. What I'm saying is that like you said that there's an unknown versus the known. The known is pretty good. Same thing with DJ Moore. The known is pretty
Here's
good.
a question to me though: like, is Keenan Allen going to be one of those alphas that demand the ball when?
But
this is the thing. This is the thing. I think the most important thing. Is not chemistry. Is not who's been playing. I was like DM someone today about this because you hear this a lot. Like, oh, this guy has been building chemistry or been building rapport, or maybe they like played together in college. If it's an offense where the quarterback is reading the defense and the defense then dictates where he goes with the ball, I can see how that plays a role.
But wait,
let me finish though. But if it's an offense where it is a designed first read here, second read here, second read's not there, third read there, whoever that first read is in that offensive system, that is the guy that is likely going to produce.
But wait.
Exactly. We don't know that.
Y'all never let me finish my point. I'll let you do your whole thing. Now I'm speaking on my part, right? So again, Rome Odunze is the mystery box. We don't know what he is. Yeah. He could be Jamar Chase. He could be a guy where we're drafting him now with we don't know what he's going to be, and then he has a great season, and then a year from now, he's a top three round pick. So if I was to choose out of those 3 guys, and honestly, none of them I'm targeting right now. But if you were to give me all 3 guys in a vacuum, I'm gonna go with Odunze because I feel like he's the one that has the potential highest ceiling. Like I don't see DJ Moore going crazy. I don't see Keenan Allen going crazy. Now, then you mentioned Caleb Williams. The reason, and I agree with you. Me personally, I probably wouldn't take Caleb Williams to where he was drafted in your draft. What was that, 8th round?
8th round.
I probably would target the guys that were drafted after him. But I think the purpose of people grabbing Caleb Williams, because kind of the same thing I was just saying with the Odunze, it's a mystery box thing. If Caleb Williams has a great season, next year we're drafting him in the top 6 rounds, top 5 rounds. And he's got that everybody's looked at as one of the greatest prospects ever coming out of college in the quarterback position, right? So people are banking on, look, I missed out on probably Hurts, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar. Let me get this guy later who I think has the potential of going crazy. Because remember, we don't know what these guys are. We're just making predictions at this point. He has the potential of having a crazy season. I'm going to, take advantage of that value. Again, that's not my approach, but I can see why somebody would do that.
This would be my rebuttal to that. So, one with the Odunze thing. A lot of people I respect, including you, are very high on him as like a prospect. I just did not necessarily see it. Good receiver, but I didn't see anything great. Like I just when I watched, I saw nothing great. Yeah. I didn't see the play speed there, outside of a couple 9 routes and some post routes. I just did not see this just amazing player that everybody else saw. But again, I could be completely wrong. But when it comes to sort of kind of, the unknown of Caleb, and he could be potentially this, you could say the same thing about the veterans. You can say the same thing the DJ Moore. The reason
why you can't say the same thing about any
veteran, because it's a new offensive coordinator and it's a new quarterback.
The reason why you can't say things about every other veteran because you've seen them play. It's not a mystery box.
I have not seen DJ Moore play with Caleb Williams in the Shane Waldron system.
I'm talking about the quarterbacks.
I haven't seen Jared Goff 2024. I haven't seen Tua with
you're
his new added
ignoring
weapons.
the point I'm making. You've seen all these veterans play. Like regardless of what the system you saw, the players they were playing with, you've seen them all in the
I've
NFL.
seen them
you
play.
have not seen Caleb Williams in the NFL.
You
just haven't.
I'm not arguing that. What I'm arguing is the fact that those other guys don't have this unknown, unpotential upside.
But
they have
here's
just as
the
much
issue.
upside as Caleb.
Here's the issue. Nobody's gonna look at Brock Purdy or Jordan Love and think they're going to put up a Josh Allen, Hurts, or Mahomes season. I'm not saying it's not possible, but nobody's looking at them saying, I think they're going to be in that same tier. Caleb Williams, if a year from now we're saying Caleb Williams is in that same tier, that will not surprise people. It just won't. Now, at the same time, if a year from now we're saying Caleb Williams is the same tier as Tua, that also won't surprise people. He has a wide range of outcomes. And I think when people draft any rookie, they're just hoping that the outcome that they turn out with is a high-end outcome. Because now, like if you look at every second-year player on this board that actually did well, they're drafted way higher than they were last year. Every single one of them. You know, that's just how it is.
But that makes sense. But I don't think that's a reason to like draft them high this year. And then again, getting back to your point,
eighth round is there
are other veterans that I could see who could outscore.
Look. If you look at the board. Okay, Kyler, who has some question marks. Jordan Love, who had one good season. Last year, question mark. Jaden Daniels, another rookie.
But he had a good season.
But he did have a good season.
But my point is,
it wasn't a great season.
But my point is, I could see, I would not be surprised. Like, I think Jordan Love and Kyler Murray had the same percentage chance of having a great season, that top tier season, as Caleb Williams.
You don't know that because we've seen Kyler.
You don't know that. Like,
but what I'm saying is we've seen them
but
play.
You have not seen Kyler with Marvin Harrison. There's so many unknown factors.
We've seen them play, yes or no? We've seen them in the NFL, yes?
That I disagree with.
We haven't seen them in the NFL?
I've seen Kyler.
Answer the question. Have we seen them in the NFL?
Yes, but that's not the point.
That is the point I'm making.
That is not the point.
But that's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is we don't know what Caleb Williams is in the NFL yet. It's almost like C.J. Stroud. Last year, going all the way into the season, people knew C.J. Stroud was a great quarterback, and they were high on him at Ohio State, but they didn't know what he was going to be like in the NFL. Same thing with Bryce Young. Everybody was high on Bryce Young. They were high on him all the way up until the start of the season. They didn't know how he was going to play in the season. Now, fast forward a year from now, I bet if you look at the drafts last year, Bryce Young was maybe drafted over C.J. Stroud. Now Bryce Young is not even drafted.
So I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing the wide range of possibilities. They could be this, they could be that.
But the point the point I'm making is that's the reason people are drafting him there.
And again, that's the argument that I'm making, is that veteran players also can have a wide range of possibilities. So for you to say that because he's a rookie,
let's say this.
And I'm not cherry picking. I'm saying certain
let's
veterans.
say this. Look at this board. The whole board, all the quarterbacks. Which quarterback jumped from the bottom of the board last year to the top of the board? Other than C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson, who were rookies last year. Yeah. Who are the guys that were in the lower tiers that now we fast forward a year now and they're now in the higher tier? There's not any. There's none. It's like the quarterback is like once they
outside of Jordan,
that doesn't make it right though. That does not make it correct.
But the point I'm making is the quarterbacks is they tend to once they kind of set their tier. That they're locked in there,
and I just take advantage of that.
Because, no, you can't. I'm not saying anything is right or wrong. I started this by saying I'm not even drafting Caleb Williams that high, but I was saying the people that are drafting him, that's the reason. And again, and another point I wanted to make, since I keep being interrupted, was you made the point that it just dawned on me. But Shane
Waldron?
Shane Waldron.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If we look at what he did with the Seahawks.
Yeah. But this is the thing, though. This is the thing. And this is what makes this situation, I think, tough, too. I don't know how much influence Pete Carroll had over Shane Waldron. Because you would hear a lot, they want to run the ball. They want to win with defense. They want to run the ball. So I don't know if Shane Waldron is someone who really has that philosophy, has that mindset, or if he, has his own mindset. And now that he's left Seattle, now we see more of a pass-heavy
How much does DK kind of
No,
playing
that's a
that
good
too,
point.
right? Because DK is one of those guys that you need to feed him the ball, and I'm not sure if DJ Moore
No,
and Keenan Allen are those kind of guys too.
but don't remember last year they drafted. Was Jason the first receiver taken last year? I think he was the first, right?
Yeah.
So they drafted the first wide receiver in the draft last year.
Yeah.
So they had high hopes on him, and they didn't even use him like that. You would think you would use the number one.
And I've heard
wide
people,
receiver,
and I've heard people kind of use that analogy with Odunze. And my issue with all of this is this is a one situation, and I'm gonna cherry pick this situation where I am not taking what this OC did on this team
transferring
and bringing
over.
it forward.
Okay.
I just think there's too many variables, but also like I heard too much for too many years about Pete Carroll having a very strong influence on the offense,
Right.
wanting to run
Like
the
he
ball
wants to
and
run.
dictating.
Yeah, I got you.
So
All right,
we'll
last
see.
point I want to make on the Bears, and we can move
Remember
on.
that point though when we start talking about rookie quarterbacks. By the way, at
Let-
some point we're going to talk about rookie quarterbacks, but I want you to remember that point.
Yeah, so last thing I want to say about the Bears, and I think there may be one or two things, but Abby just like made me forget all of them. But the last point I want to make is if I was targeting somebody in the Bears, I think Cole Kmet is a good option, especially if you miss out on the top tight ends and you're looking for just a tight end that kind of sticks out. I think he's in a good position. I feel like he had a good setup last year as far as him just improving. You know, he was a second-round pick not too long ago. He's one of those things when he came into the league, people didn't really see him as much of a pass-catching tight end. I think he was more of a blocking tight end. But last year he actually showed that he can actually be a receiving threat. And with all those options available to him, as far as Caleb Williams, as far as receivers, I think it will leave him open quite a bit. And, you know, they say rookie quarterbacks tend to lean on their tight ends a lot,
bit.
you know.
Yeah.
So I think he's somebody you can look at. And there's other tight ends I like this year too, but he's just an option for people that, you know, might miss on the big 3 or 4 or 5, however many they are this year.
I didn't realize we were so passionate about the Bears. But
right.
maybe hey, there's a lot of fantasy goodness there. So I
Passionate
may
about
start
every
looking
team,
at DJ Moore because he's starting to get pushed down a little bit. I'll probably take a stab at a couple of these guys at some point, but definitely not going out of my way.
Let's stay on receivers for a sec. Let's talk about Kansas City Chiefs. They now have Hollywood that's there, who to me seems like their number one receiver. Rashee Rice is going through some legal issues. How do you guys see this receiver room and what they're doing? They brought in Xavier Worthy through the draft. Travis Kelce's still there. How are you guys shaking out this receiver room given the legal issues with Rashee Rice?
You want me to go first? You want to go
You
first?
can go first.
I promise I won't interrupt you.
Hey, fine.
So a couple of so for Rashee Rice, Roger Goodell said he's going to let the legal system play out.
Okay.
He said that they're going to let the legal system play out. So if that
Wait,
legal
before we go
Yeah.
through all that, you think he's being suspended?
this year, no. Next year, actually, this year I don't know. I think there's probably more of a chance that he plays the
If you
entire
were putting
year.
your money, if I gave you $500 to put on something, what are you putting it on
That he gets suspended next year.
next year? What about you?
This year. He's
How many
getting
games?
suspended. Maybe 2 to 3 games.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I don't think he's being suspended.
Period.
I don't think he's being suspended.
yeah. I think he'll get suspended next year, but.
Yeah, maybe next year, but I
Yeah.
mean that's totally different.
Yeah, but I don't think he's getting suspended this year. And this guy is getting like pushed way down board.
Well,
I
But-
put money on that.
but-
too, by the way.
Well, part of that, honestly, and I'm gonna let you talk. I'm not gonna go very far, but I'll say this. I think he's just overvalued in general. Like I don't
Yeah.
even think he's that great of a receiver. I
Me
mean,
either.
he's good.
Yeah.
Like you get the ball in his hands, almost like Debo-ish.
Yeah.
he's good when there's nobody else.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you get the ball in his
Yeah.
hands, he can make people miss.
Yeah.
He's strong, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't think as a receiver,
Yeah.
it's almost like when people were comparing Debo and Ayuk. Again, I'm
Yeah.
gonna let you talk. My bad. But
No, I like this 'cause I
Ayuk
normally
is a
the one
much
that's
better
right.
receiver to me than Debo, right? Much better, like
Yeah.
not even close.
Yeah.
But Debo has value, right?
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, y'all get it. I think Rice is
Yeah.
like a Debo. So I'm not even like, even if with me saying I don't think he's gonna be suspended,
Yeah.
I'm still not even trying to like
Yeah.
draft him on my team.
Yeah.
I'm going back to this draft though. I'm seeing Xavier Worthy being drafted in the 6th and Rashee drafted in the 9th. I mean, like
Because
that's
everybody
crazy.
thinks he's gonna get suspended.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
Everybody think he might be gone for like
So-
half the season.
I
Actually,
don't know about how.
I think this is a very, very complicated situation. I think I think there's a lot of things that you have to consider. Okay, one, remember the Chiefs used to be this high flying offense
with Tyreek
that
Hill.
with Tyreek Hill, but not just with Tyreek Hill. If you remember, even when they had Tyreek Hill like that last year, halfway through the year, their offense just died. And people were like, what's wrong with Mahomes? He's going through some issues. What's going on? And that was sort of kind of the nidus. That was the inception of like when teams, I think, started doing the 2 high safeties. And then it kind of caught across, you know, it
Make
caught like
them
wildfire.
matriculate down the
Yeah,
field
and
instead of
it
big
became a
plays.
copycat league. And so the question is, what is Andy Reid going to do? Because you got to give Andy Reid credit, and he makes it very difficult for fantasy players in this, right, is that he can transform his offense. If y'all remember last year, like I was big on the idea that the Chiefs need to get a running game because there's no way with these wide receivers that Mahomes is going to be able to do what Mahomes has done in the past and that they win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They won a Super Bowl, so I was definitely wrong with that. But they really leaned on Pacheco quite a bit. This wasn't like a Mahomes year where he was just like, Mahomes, I think, was outside the top 12 quarterbacks last year. So Andy Reid changed his offense. The other factor, they had a good defense, and it seems like they'll probably still have a good defense. I can't. How many times have I talked up Spagnuolo?
Yeah.
Constantly. That dude knows, especially like late in the year when it really matters. So they have a good defense. You got Andy Reid who can really just sort of kind of adjust this offense. We've seen him in Philly. We've seen him in the early stages in Kansas City. Then we saw him in the early stages with Mahomes. Now we've seen him in this stages. He can do so much with an offense.
Yeah.
So now you add in Xavier Worthy. You add in Marquise Brown. You have Rashee Rice going into his second year. Obviously, you have Mahomes,
Did
and obviously you
Marquise
have
change
Kelsey.
his name to Hollywood?
It shows up as Hollywood.
Everyone's
Yeah.
seen Hollywood all of a sudden. Like, what happened?
Yeah, I mean,
So
I don't know.
To me, this is a hard situation, but this is where I'm at. I think I have a
Same
little.
thing with Tank Dell, by the way. That bothers me. I'm a stickler. I don't know.
let the man market. So I have a little bit for me. I feel like I have a little bit more clarity on my end, or I'm a little bit more conviction when it comes to the Chiefs versus the Bears. Xavier Worthy, y'all can have him in redraft. And if he's going that high in best ball, you can definitely have him. Like I'm not taking Xavier Worthy that high. I do not think he's that good of a wide receiver. I think he's a field stretcher, especially in his first year. This is not the easiest offense to learn
Maybe
and
a
just come in your
gadget
first
guy
year.
that they
Yeah,
can use,
always go back to Tyreek Hill's first year. He did not dominate. And Xavier Worthy is not Tyreek Hill. So the idea that he's just gonna come in,
But come on, Tyreek Hill was like a fifth or fourth round pick. Like nobody even saw him.
but
being-
because he had issues though. He had issues coming into the draft.
But I don't remember Tyreek Hill being like this high prospect receiver.
All
Like
that
I think he just kind of surprised people
Yeah.
because he was so fast. He was like, just get the ball in his hand.
All that being said, Xavier Worthy is not Tyreek Hill. I don't
Oh,
care.
really?
Whatever Tyreek Hill was back then.
There is no Tyreek Hill. Maybe
Okay.
Devon Achane.
Okay, but he's not even
The
close.
greatest running back in NFL history.
Yeah. So Xavier Worthy, like he's definitely not the high end wide receiver. Marquise Brown, I used to be a Marquise Brown fan because of the price, because of like he was always a solo wide receiver. But I have watched Marquise Brown very, very closely. And to me, again, he is really just a deep threat. He is not a possessional wide receiver. So I'm looking at Marquise Brown and Xavier Worthy, who basically do the same thing. And if you're asking one of them to sort of kind of be the short and intermediate guy, to me, that's not really their game.
Yeah.
That's not really their game to me, you know? Like, yeah, everybody can be schemed open, and it's Andy Reid, so anything could happen. So I will throw out that caveat because I got tremendous respect for him. So when it comes down to it, I still think that based on how defenses play, based on, the wide receivers who have experience in this offense, I still would bet that Rashee Rice would lead this team in receptions and in touchdowns. All that being said, I will target Rashee Rice if he's going in double-digit rounds. I mean, like, what the hell? Hell yeah. I'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
But really the person that I'm targeting is Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Yep, I just
I'm taking
drafted
it
him,
like
too.
I'm taking the discount, and I'm loving the
drafted
idea
him
that
in
like
my draft.
defenses have to respect Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
They have to
Safeties,
respect
yeah.
Marquise Brown. So all that hard work that Kelce had to do last year, where he was having to do double teams and this and that, and we saw the fall off. But guess what we saw in the playoffs? We saw that dude ball out. Defenses
Did
knew
you
that
not
they
see
had
that
to start
Taylor
him.
Swift was in the stands. Come on, man.
Oh,
Hey,
please, we
they
will
still
not,
would've played.
we will not have
That
Taylor
ball out,
Swift.
come on.
We
Hey,
will
oh, yes,
not
we
will. Right
have
there,
a
like,
Taylor
let's
Swift.
Every time you mention Taylor Swift, your numbers go up. But Travis Kelce is the one player that I am targeting, and I feel like the offense opens up for him now, especially in the red zone. So that's the one receiving
So-
option on this team that I'm targeting.
So for me, I'm kind of targeting Hollywood. If I was targeting, and I'm not targeting him. Like if Hollywood was like right there when it's time for me to pick, and he's at the top of the ADPQ or whatever, I'll probably take him. But I'm not like trying to reach for him.
Yeah.
And the sole reason is because he's the vet there. Like he's been in the NFL, he's been on multiple quarterbacks. He's been a quarterback that aren't even throwing him the ball. So now this is going to be the best quarterback he's ever played with in the NFL.
Would you take him or Deontay Johnson?
Hollywood. I don't believe in Bryce Young. I think he's too small.
Yeah.
Even I saw him throw a pass yesterday. Like they were like making it a big deal, but I felt like he was trying to like.
He may
Yeah.
figure it out, though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He may
Eventually,
figure it out.
maybe.
Did you believe? I believed in Thielen last year.
Yeah.
So Deontay's a lot
No,
better
but
than
Thielen is a good receiver for quarterbacks. You know, he knows how to get open. He's a vet. Right?
Deontay's separation numbers are pretty ridiculous.
Deontay's good too, but you know, if I was to choose, and also on top of that, Mahomes. If you compare Mahomes and Bryce, I'm gonna go Mahomes 10 out of 10 times.
Can't argue that.
Yeah,
can't argue that.
No, but so again, Hollywood just a veteran presence. You know, he's playing on a 1-year deal, which is a proven deal, and he's not even getting a lot of money. Think about that. Like, usually all these players, you try to get as much money as you can because your career is only a certain amount of time. He's like, I'll take less money, I'll take less years, and I'm just gonna show this year I'm worth it, so then next year, you know, I'm gonna get paid out.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's a big motivating factor. The thing with Worthy, and this kind of goes back to this season, y'all might hear me say mystery box a lot, especially when we talking about these rookies. But the thing about Worthy is where he's being drafted in the draft. And full disclosure, I haven't been looking at any draft boards at all. I've only done one draft. Like, I've been purposely staying away from this just to not poison my mind. But the way he's being drafted on this draft right here, I think he's being drafted at his ceiling.
Yeah.
Right? Like, people look at him as first-round receiver. The Chiefs got him. Sixth round, like, I expect big things from him. They're not looking at him as, you know, a rookie that maybe have something that turns out well. I mean, if Xavier Worthy had a season like Rashee Rice, we'll be really happy, right?
Yeah.
And look how low Rashee Rice is going. All right, look how low Jordan Addison is going. You know, look how low D-Hop and Godwin. They're all going after Xavier Worthy. Yeah. So you're basically drafting Worthy with the assumption that he's going to have
a
number
one receiver.
Yeah, number one. Yeah. I mean, this draft, he's drafted before Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like, he's the first Chiefs wide receiver drafted in this draft. And I feel like that's a dangerous game to play.
Yeah,
because if he doesn't hit or if he's a dud, like it throws you all off because you're essentially drafting right now to be a starter.
Yeah.
So
okay, Xavier Worthy or Lab McConkey?
Man, I don't. Is Lab McConkey good? Look, somebody in the comments right
be
there.
Be careful.
Please tell us if Lab McConkey is good.
Are you sure you want that smoke?
Bro, I've watched Lab McConkey. It's not the same way we say about Roma Duzay. I've watched Lab McConkey. I don't even think he's crossed like 700 yards in any season. Like, he played with Brock Bowers. Like, he didn't look like he was just going crazy. I mean, he was getting open. He almost had like a Hunter Renfro type game to him.
Yeah.
But a little bit more skill. Like, that doesn't excite me. Right? I don't want that on my. Like, I'm not gonna be trying to root for Lab McConkey.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, he might have a good season, but I just.
So Xavier Worthy. Okay, let me go. Xavier Worthy, Deontay Johnson.
I'm gonna go Deontay.
Xavier Worthy, Chris Godwin.
I'm gonna go Godwin.
Xavier Worthy, Roma Dunze.
I'm gonna go Dunze.
Okay. Yeah, Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman.
I'm gonna go Coleman.
Coleman, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jordan Addison or Xavier Worthy?
Nah, Addison. But you can't go. You can't.
See,
go
my question is, I don't know what they're doing with the quarterback position of the Vikings.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if J.J. McCarthy can throw. Like, he ran so much in Michigan.
He can't. He can't. He can't.
Oh, you a perennial hater.
He can't. He has Mac Jones.
Certified hater.
He has Mac Jones written all over.
Certified perennial grade A.
He has Mac Jones
you know what's
written all
funny?
over.
You know what's funny? All those names you just said, if Worthy was being taken in that same range as all those guys you just said, I'd feel way more comfortable taking them.
Yeah.
You know? But I just think everybody's just gassing up way too much right now. I mean,
we can talk about rookie quarterbacks, though, if you want to. Because you know where my love fest is about to go.
Bo Nix.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, y'all better get on the Bo Nix train.
He wanted to get that on wax.
I so want to.
And I'm not sure that you want to get that on wax.
I'm telling you, man. Bo Nix, Dynasty.
Nah.
I do want to have a Dynasty conversation.
I don't mind Bo Nix.
Yeah, I think more of a Dynasty player. I don't know about redraft.
When you got a head coach that's like invested in you, his career rides on you, and he believes in you, like, that's a setup. That's a setup for success.
And he's one of the few quarterbacks that actually is drafted by an offensive head coach, and I like that in a developmental guy, like in a guy who needs to be developed.
Sorry, a few other things I was gonna say about the Chiefs. Let's just not forget, and I know this is like, you know, very unlikely, but I don't want to totally ignore Sky Moore is still there in that system, a second-round pick, so he was at some point talented. He's familiar with the coach, familiar with the system, familiar with the quarterback.
Yep.
For whatever reason, he hasn't broken through, but he's had opportunities.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's more useful this year.
Yep.
And then they still kind of like Kadarius Toney. And we used to love Toney. I mean,
do they
he's
like
a
Kadarius
hardhead.
Toney?
Man, Toney's
They talk
out
about
of
all the time adding him to the system. Like, he's the type of player I feel like they should have got rid of but he's still there.
Didn't they bench
that's
him?
true.
Didn't they make him inactive for the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
They probably did, yeah.
Yeah.
But before
Yeah,
that, they were
they
like
were
talking
inactive.
him up.
And he was like, I'm healthy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then our other boy is still there.
Oh, yeah, Justin Ross.
Justin Ross.
Who we burned that draft.
Justin Ross.
I know,
Who we
man.
burned that pick on.
Bro, I had so
Yeah.
much Justin Ross.
Yeah, my bad. My bad.
Everywhere.
I let that train.
$200 fan. Get him on my team.
Let that train draft him everywhere. Everywhere.
man.
But hey,
man.
to be fair, that was preceded with Puka and Kyron Williams.
No.
So
We
you know
almost
that's
didn't
2 out of
draft
3.
Puka
Like
so that we could draft
no,
Justin
hell
Ross.
no.
No, man, Dio talked us into Puka.
Nah.
We almost drafted
Justin
Justin
Ross,
Ross
man.
over Puka.
I'm not giving up on Ross, by the way. Just
Nah,
give me
man,
one good highlight.
Give me one good
Back in.
like a drug.
Back in.
Like
I
a
don't
drug.
know, man. I don't know. But I just saw a tweet not too long ago, and this guy Ryan Heath, he put 9 out of 10 of the biggest running back workload increases that mattered. I don't know what that means. Like the
Yeah.
that mattered qualifier have occurred in year 2. Largest jumps in weighted opportunities per game. Then he goes through this list because he also has like a minimum of 8 games. James Conner, Kyron Williams,
Bro.
Devontae Freeman.
Sorry, slight tangent, but on topic. That Devontae Freeman year, bro, me and my boys went to Atlanta for the Texans game.
Yeah.
You know, just a trip to go watch the game or whatever. That was 2015.
Yeah.
We were like, man, we were excited. We were in stands talking shit to all the fans in Atlanta Falcons. Devontae Freeman went off for like 150, like 3 touchdowns on our head. That day is when I was like, okay, this guy's like legit.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea. Because that was at the same time when they had Tevin Coleman, and they were kind of sharing the backfield.
Yeah.
And I think Coleman might have been hurt. I was like, man, they ain't even got Coleman, man. Freeman's small. He ain't going to do nothing. Went crazy.
But
so just seeing his name right there just brings it back.
they're talking about this workload increase in year 2. And so it just made me start to think about, like, who are those year 2 running backs
Tyjae Spears.
that we might be able to see?
Tyjae Spears.
You think Tyjae?
Oh, yeah.
Even
yeah.
with Pollard there?
Oh, yeah. Tyjae Spears is going to go off this year. He's going to go off this year.
With Pollard there
Bank it.
being...
Bank it.
So you think Tyjae could be like a between the tackles kind of running back?
Yeah. He was in college. He was last year, too. Tyjae had a good season last year for the minimal touches he had. And don't forget, Derrick Henry wasn't hurt. But I think Tyjae is a good opportunity.
Yeah, but why bring in a guy like Tony Pollard if you're going to give Tyjae like
You can never have
the
no
lion's share
good
of the
players,
carry-
man.
carry?
I didn't say he's going to have the lion's share. I
But-
just think he's going to have a very good season.
But the tweet is talking about this increase in workload. Like
I mean,
this.
I'm seeing,
Oh, well-
I'm going through like a lot of the running backs that were drafted. I mean, there's some good names on this list. I mean, Bijan was a disappointment. Like clearly, people are already on him. He's already going in the first
Yeah, but
round.
I
So,
think we can
So
take
the tweet
Bijan.
is saying
Yeah.
like people that have more
But-
opportunities, like a higher workload.
I mean, this
Right.
is adding credence to the tweet. Jamar Gibbs finished the year strong, started
Yeah.
the year slow. So we'll see if they switch things up. Zach Charbonnet was also drafted last year. That's kind of an ambiguous backfield to some degree. I think we're all assuming that it's
Did you
Kenneth
say
Walker.
Chase Brown yet?
Haven't gotten
Don't
there.
forget to say Chase
Yeah,
Brown.
we getting there. We getting there. But like if you,
You say
look,
Kendrick Miller yet?
I'm getting
Just say
there. I'm
those
getting there.
guys.
Yeah, but like if you look at like the Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, there are some people who were like Charbonnet truthers who feel that he may be
did you
better
say H.A.
as
yet?
a. I'm gonna get there. Who feel that he may be a better back, at least like in between the tackles, like someone who can like fall forward, be that NFL back that coaches like, get what's given to you and maybe a little bit more. So you got a new head coach, a new OC coming in, like we just assuming that it's Kenneth Walker, but we don't know. And like the ADP difference is pretty significant there. Kendre Miller, you mentioned, we know this is likely Kamara's last year in New Orleans. Do they ride Kamara into the ground? New offensive system there again. Obviously, I think they'll incorporate some more zones, so we won't be seeing Kamara just jammed in between the A and B gaps, like interior linemen, play after play after play. That was so frustrating. But you mentioned Tyjae Spears already. I mean, there's a lot of them. Devin A-Chain. That's an interesting situation as well. I mean,
the
there's a
thing that
lot
I
of
can see kind of
these.
happening though is when you have these second-year running backs with guys who have a lot of tread on the tires, right?
Right.
So like That I can see. So like I can see like a Keandre Miller with
and I guess that's what I was
Kamara.
more saying. Like the workload, I can't speak on workload because I don't know what these teams are going to do. And I do feel like we're in an age where there's so many committees, right? Like they're just, it's going to be hard for you to kind of project somebody having the whole workload other than C-Mac.
Keaton Mitchell, damn.
Other than Seaman, even Breece Hall, you want to say he had the whole workload, but they added like all these running backs. Like for what?
Yeah.
Like what are you doing? Like Braylon Allen and then backdoor and get Isaiah Davis.
I think.
And
I mean,
Izzy still there?
I think it's a knock against
Is he still
Izzy.
there?
I think it's a knock against Izzy.
You don't think they like Izzy?
Not that they don't like him, but I don't think that if Breece Hall went down, like they don't want to be like.
See, that's crazy
They learned,
because-
but they learned their lesson last year. Aaron Rodgers went down and they had nothing.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't think that they want to be in that same position
But
again.
that's crazy to me because I'd actually target Izzy for the same reason, kind of what we're talking about now,
Yeah.
being a second-year running back. And I think the biggest takeaway for me with that tweet, because I think I was the one that shared the tweet, was I think these second-year running backs become more efficient. Keep in mind, as a rookie, the whole offseason you're preparing for the draft.
Yeah.
You're interviewing. You're not focused on just – you don't know your playbook. You're not focused on just being ready for the season. Now you go through the season. You learn how to be an NFL player, a longer season, by the way. You're probably behind a veteran at that time. Most of these rookies last year were behind veterans. They started getting more burn at the end of the season, like Chase Brown, Kendra Miller started getting more burn. So now they had the whole offseason to kind of get ready. They know the playbook. The veteran that was above them was a little older. You know, the coach that they're playing for probably drafted them, so they want to give them more touches, and they just have more opportunity. Now, ideally, with more opportunity and more efficiency, that then gives them more workload.
Yeah.
So it kind of can play out that way.
There's some interesting names on this list that like I'm gonna just be
There's
like
a lot, bro.
storing away.
No.
Like even like a Chris Rodriguez, I'm just gonna
Yes,
store it away.
bro,
You just store it away. Like
I'm telling you,
there's
if
a
y'all
lot
look
of
at my
names
draft,
on
I
this
don't know
list.
if you have my draft up. I was trying to target all these running backs that are second-year guy just because.
Yeah.
Because the guys that we know, man, we know what they are. Like, they're not going to be much more
Evan
than
Hole.
what they already are. Huh?
Evan Hole.
Evan Hole. He was my last pick.
Yeah.
Evan
Oh,
Hole.
okay.
So, I mean, all these, I mean, that tweet is such a big takeaway to me because it's like, if you can find those second-year running backs, because they're all cheap. None of them are hot except for A-Chain.
Sean Tucker. We just forgot about him and we just assumed that like.
But Sean Tucker
that
wasn't
you're-
drafted though. That was my issue with him.
That's
He was
true.
undrafted,
That's
so
true.
he had an uphill climb anyways.
Eric Gray. Yeah.
I like Eric Gray. No, I like Eric Gray.
So I've been like battling, but because I really like what I saw.
Tyrone Tracy?
Yeah, when
he
I
was
said
a
when
wide
I-
receiver.
Yeah,
and
but he played running back
Yeah, he
in-
converted last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, he played running
He's
back in
good.
high school, so he did have some running
Yeah,
back.
He's good, but I think people are just ignoring Gray.
Yeah.
Because there's only
Yeah.
First of all, I don't think anybody should trust Devin Singletary, right? Like he's gonna start. He's probably gonna do well. And if he has a healthy season all year, great, right? But he's never had a major workload for a whole season. So then if you look back past Singletary, who's left? The rookie?
Yeah,
And Gray.
Go down to the middle of the graph. This is and this is kind of like what I changed from like last year.
Oh, this is my draft.
Yeah, and this I changed this. Actually, I think over like the last maybe 2 years, but definitely last year. One, we have, like you said, there's a lot more running back by committee. So when a running back gets hurt, not only are we likely not seeing someone just come in and take over the entire workload and really sort of kind of become that workhorse back, but two, we I think have been very, very wrong on many occasions on who that number 2 back is. Like we've just been assuming, and then the fantasy community runs with it. And because of that, like I am just like looking at this entire list, and I don't care how high the running back was drafted, but when you take a Trey Benson in the 9th round, and then you got the Blake Corums here, and then you got Marshawn Lloyd and Jalen Wright, all being taken between rounds 8 and 11. What is the difference between any of those guys and a Tyler Algier going in round 12?
Nothing except for the mystery box of it.
Except for the mystery
It's just
box.
mystery box.
And then you got all these other guys, like even like a Khalil Herbert. I mean, but so many of these situations, we have no clue if
the
these are
guy-
actually the handcuffs.
Handcuff, yeah.
You like
No,
we're
you
so
can take advantage of that too.
and then look at like what's the best backfield to be in the NFL?
Like the 49ers?
Where's Elijah Mitchell going in this draft?
16.
After all of those guys.
16. He's the very first.
And maybe we're wrong.
He's the very first
Yeah.
non-CMAC 49er running back taken.
And-
so you can literally take two of them.
Yeah, and maybe we're wrong. Maybe he does get overtaken as the RB2.
But even if he
but
gets
why
overtaken,
would that happen?
But
Yeah.
even if he gets overtaken,
Yeah.
the only other running backs they have is Guerrero and Mason.
Trust me, I know. I'm
And
only
Mason's
allowed
not
to-
even drafted.
Yeah.
So you can still take
Yeah.
Mason if you want him. And Guerendo's
Yeah.
drafted in the 18th round here. So I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I think, and that's my big thing. I've always thought that about fantasy players, especially
Yeah.
the experts or pros. I feel like they're too overconfident in what is going to happen.
Yeah.
Like they're telling themselves, like going back to the Giants backfield.
Yeah.
They're telling themselves Tyrone Tracy is the handcuff.
Yeah.
Like they're not even trying to consider Gray.
Yeah.
And if you
Yep.
really are
Yep.
practical about this stuff, you should be taking Gray because I don't think Gray was drafted in this draft.
I've drafted a lot of Gray.
You should be taking him in those last 3 rounds.
I think about like if I'm the head coach and I have a veteran here who's been working hard, he's in the system twice. Am I just gonna say, oh yeah,
Hey.
like you go to the bench?
And here's the big thing.
It's like
they start trusting that running back.
yeah,
Like they see him every day. They see him working, learning, asking
Yeah.
questions, not making mistakes.
because Eric Gray is a good running back. His only issue is just like pass pro. And that's something that you can learn. But I think, we definitely like get so hyped up on these rookies that we just start pushing them up the board. But even just in general, like forget about the whole rookie thing. Just the handcuff in general, it sounds ridiculous today to say that Trey Benson is not the handcuff in Arizona. But he may not be the handcuff
Yeah,
in
you're
Arizona.
right. You're
It
right.
sounds ridiculous to say that.
Yeah.
And trust me, like if I had to mark down my depth chart, I have him obviously as an RB2. But I would not be surprised if they trusted DeMarcado because guess what? Like, what has Trey Benson done in the NFL?
Nothing.
Does the head coach, does the quarterback trust Trey Benson in pass pro?
Right.
Do they trust him to run these routes?
Right.
They trust, and guess DeMarcado's guess what? A second-year RB as well. So like these
Played in the
things,
system. Same
yeah,
same
At the
coach,
ba-
same everything.
Yeah, and I have no issue with people saying, "Well, I believe in the talent, and I'm for sure he's an RB." That's fine. What I would just say is just that, like, keeping it, like, know the entire depth chart, so that if somebody does go down, because we've made a killing off of this, like the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
Every year we make a killing off of this, where we just like let people draft who they
yeah.
think is an RB2, and then we'll get the second guy.
Yeah.
You know, or even like the Kyron Williams. I mean, I had like 60+% of Kyron Williams last year, just because I was just like. To me, like there was this, it's the same Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet debate where I was just like, I don't know that they really like who's in front of him, you know? And we heard Schefter like Kyron Williams first year, like how much they loved him. And guess what? Kyron Williams was going into the second year and he was on that tweet. So just unless the contract tells us and it's just like dead obvious, like keep an open mind. Same thing with A-Chain and Mostert. Keep an open mind.
I think the cheat code with a lot of this is being aware. I'm not saying pick them up, and if you want to pick them up, that's fine. But be very aware and mindful who the perceived running back 3 is.
Yeah.
Perceived. Because when I say perceived, that means there's a chance it could be running back 2. We just
Yeah.
don't know. Or if they really are the running back 3, if the running back 2 does get an opportunity and they bust, you just have the running back 3 for free.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I got Dearness
Yeah.
Johnson that year. And that took me, you know, to a lot of winning. So definitely I agree with that. I like the way this draft, I like the way a lot of people draft in this draft because I say this every year for the people that draft early. I think it's best to start off doing zero running back or hero running back drafts early because there's so much unknown in the running back and there's injuries that might happen. For the last couple of years, I think we've been pretty lucky with like pre-season injuries.
We have the last
But
couple
there've
seasons.
been years where we have
The season
major,
before that, yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
can kill your roster type injuries.
Yeah.
And you know, if you draft those type of running backs high, it can pretty much just kill your whole team. So definitely be careful with that.
Yeah. And I don't
Damn,
know.
A-Chain went right before me in this draft.
So you like A-Chain in the third, huh?
I like A-Chain in the second.
Damn.
Ooh, nah.
I think A-Chain, y'all got, man, and I know we kind of forgot because it's been a while and he got hurt or whatever.
No.
But there was a stretch for like 3-4 weeks where this man touched the ball and was just scoring.
Like, I remember the first time we had an opportunity to start him, and we're like, man, did we put him in the starting lineup?
Yeah.
He's like, man, you started. This is what we've been waiting for.
Every week went off. Every week.
He's like, he stays in there every week. I do not give a damn.
Until further notice, every week.
But can they duplicate that though with him and Mostert?
This is
like,
my
putting
thing.
up that
I
many
feel
points?
like I don't. I don't mind A-Chain going where he's going. I don't think he's ever going to be like a 20-plus touch type guy. But I also like where Mostert is going. Like, because they had one of the most efficient
Mostert led the
rushing
league in
games.
touchdowns. He broke the record or whatever.
Exactly.
People are drafting him like he's nothing. Like they just gave this man an extension.
Look, I don't care
Same
how old he
system.
is. I don't care if he only plays 5-6 games. If I'm going to get this, 80% of the production for 6 games this year, he's worth the 7th, 8th round pick to me.
Yeah.
Because if I get to start off my fantasy, season with a guy I can just lock in there, and then, he's going to be the goal line back in a high-powered offense, and he's getting, a couple catches here or there, that's love. Yeah. And then I can figure out the rest along the way.
And, Chris, going back to your question, you're asking, can he reproduce it? If he did reproduce, he's a league winner, right?
Oh yeah.
If he just reproduced, he's a league winner. Right now we're drafting the third, just hoping he can give us maybe 60% of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've seen him do it as a rookie. Keep in mind what I just said about rookies. They still have to get used to playing in the league. I've heard he bulked up. He obviously had the offseason. He knows the team better. He was hurt last year too, so now we hopefully get him more healthy.
Man, that man's always hurt though.
Man, look, I think he has the opportunity to go crazy. I think the only thing that can stop him is 2 things: injury and the other running backs just looking so good where they just share the workload so much.
Man, he scares me.
Who, A-Chain?
Yeah, I don't mind him in the third because, you look in the third, and actually this is where I've been, taking, a lot of tight ends, too, because this is the one year where I think I am paying up for tight end just because I feel like I like where they're going. And relative cost, when I see other tight ends going as high as they're going.
You see Laporte as your number 1 tight end this year?
No. I don't, and I'm not going to argue with someone if they want to take him. I'm just taking Kelsey. I don't care if I get 80% of what Travis Kelsey has been to me. I'm fine with that. And this is more so a tight end premium, but I also think Kelsey always has that 15 TD upside. You don't have to be athletic because they're in the red zone so much. And now that they got all these other offensive weapons, he just has that 15 to 20, even 20 TD upside, depending on if this offense goes off or not.
He has the rapport.
When
they're in the red zone,
exactly.
He has a high chance.
Right?
Exactly.
How bad can a bad Kelsey be?
Right. So, I would definitely keep targeting.
I knew you were going to throw that in there.
I look at McBride. McBride is good, but they brought in Marvin Harrison, right? Kyler played with them a few games. I don't even know how many games they played together, but I can see McBride take a step back. I just get scared for people I see it do it one time out the blue, not consistently.
To me, it's just they're going in a perfect range where there's a lot of question marks with the other players that they're going around. So it's you almost have to make a decision. But then when I see Jake Ferguson going in the 5th, I'm okay, well, and sometimes I see him going in the 4th, but I'm okay, I can get Mark Andrews in the late 3rd and Jake Ferguson going in the 5th, and he's going in the 5th. I'm even if I'm not that high on Mark Andrews, just the relative cost of where all these other tight ends are kind of getting pushed up a little bit, this dude has the potential to just go be absurd. Even starting off last year, he was still really good. Yeah,
he had a pretty good.
And he is still by far their best red zone
Andrews?
threat. Yes.
Yeah.
And now you add in a Derrick Henry that defenses have to worry about with him and Lamar. To me, that just makes it even easier for him.
No, I agree. I think the problem with Mark Andrews, he got hurt so long last year that people kind of forgot.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget last offseason when he threw his helmet down and he was throw me the ball. We don't have too many alpha tight ends, and he's one of the very few in the league that's no,
and Lamar
I
likes
need
him.
to get the ball. Yeah.
And where Lamar likes to throw, in the as far as he likes to throw in the middle of the field, that's where he's I think the most comfortable. That's where Mark Andrews operates.
Yeah. And let's be real, there's no other major threats on the Ravens.
No,
receiving
not at all. Not at all.
They didn't bring in anybody. They drafted Devontae Walker, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Who from North Carolina, who wasn't even that big of a prospect.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, guys. I think
at some point, we're going to talk about rookies at some point, right?
Yeah, I think we got to talk about rookies.
We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about rookies.
We got a lot to talk about.
A few tight ends. Sleepers first, right?
Are you going to give it to him now?
Damn,
every week.
We're not even in June.
Yeah.
No, I don't care.
Okay.
So a few. First of all, rookies.
Normally you hold off on your tight end.
Rookie sleepers. Sleepers. I think y'all should look at Malik Washington for the Dolphins. And I think y'all should look at.
This is for Dynasty or for redraft?
Dynasty. Sorry,
Okay,
my Dynasty people. all those receivers that were taken like the 3rd and 4th round, Jalen McClellan and Javon Baker, definitely look at them. I'm forgetting somebody. It'll come to me another time. Definitely look at those those receivers. And as far as tight end sleepers, Colby Parkinson.
Yeah,
He's so undrafted, but he's going to be available, and he's going to be their receiving tight end. Like, that's what he does. He catches the ball. And they paid him, I think, a 2 or 3 year contract. Look him for the Rams. Because if he can give you Tyler Higbee type of production, it's going to be good. Look at Mike Gesicki for the Patriots. Hunter Henry's gone, and Mike Gesicki has some
No. Gesicki's with the Bengals.
Sorry, I meant to say Hunter Henry.
Yeah, Hunter Henry.
Hunter
Yeah,
Henry,
I like
looking
that.
at Hunter Henry.
I like
Mike
that.
Gesicki's gone.
Yeah.
So now he's got and then you have a rookie quarterback, you know. And then don't forget about Greg Dosich, because they had high hopes for Greg Dosich last year.
The Joker.
Unfortunately, he got hurt. So,
I got a couple here.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a
All right,
couple.
yeah,
Let me throw my tight end into the mix.
Okay.
Hayden Hurst. No.
I was like, man, he's
back.
He's back from the dead.
Oh, we can't do the clank anymore, right? Yeah, that's not socially okay anymore. But no, I'm serious. Like Hayden Hurst not even getting drafted. You may not even have to draft him. Just kind of.
What team is Hayden Hurst on right now?
This is the only reason I'm bringing up Hayden Hurst. He's on the Chargers. The Chargers brought in Greg Roman. Again, it's tough to take.
Who was the Chargers tight end?
They still got Parham, but they let go of Everett.
Parham is nothing.
This is my point. And who are their receivers? You already talk about how you're not a huge Lad McConkey fan.
DJ Shark.
DJ Chark. They brought in,
Josh Palmer.
Josh Palmer. I actually like Josh Palmer. I think he's like kind of, But again, this offense, they want to run the ball. But again, taking, and seeing what Roman has done in the past, we have seen him with Mark Andrews, and we have seen him with Hayden Hurst. He has history with Hayden Hurst. So for me, like, I'm going to be really following, like, who is their starting receiving tight end, because they're going to have a tight end that's going to be starting, that's going to block.
Did they
just
run the ball? Will Dissly, or he was there last year?
No, he was an early sign, and he got money. But I feel like Dissly, I feel like Dissly is going to definitely be their blocking tight end. But I want to know who's going to be their receiving tight end, because this is just one of those offenses where we don't know. Right now, everybody's assuming it's Lad McConkey, and he's going in the 7th round. This is wide open. Man, take shots at this offense as far as like a receiver, because we do this every year. We talk about an offense and like, oh man, look at it on paper. It just like it gets nothing but like negative news and bad pub in the fantasy community, and then boom, they blow out. Houston, Texas, prime example. And we talked about it last year. Like, take shots on these offenses. There are so many guys that you can take a shot on when it comes to the Chargers, but listen to listen to what's going on with
everybody just kind of look at it like they're going to be trash.
Chargers and the Panthers. Panthers beat up their O-line. Okay? Panthers beat up their O-line. Yeah. They brought in an offensive-minded head coach in Dave Canales. They added weapons. Deontay, remember when we used to love Deontay?
I kind of still
do. The dude can separate, okay? And, I'm not going to sell you on some of the other options. I'm not going to sell you on the Xavier Getz and all that. But I think they're going to want to run the ball, but I also think that the defense is going to be in bad shape. I like that offense.
Now that I'm looking at this list, what about the Commanders? Are we ignoring their whole
I like the Commanders as well. I think it's going to be up and down and shaky, because I'm just not a huge Jaden Daniels believer. Mm-hmm. But they got offensive weapons.
And I didn't watch much LSU
Jahan
this
Dotson.
year.
Benson, I guess he's not really a sleeper, but.
No, he's kind of a sleeper in redraft.
Absolutely.
Because Zach Ertz, I don't expect much of. But I didn't watch much LSU last year, but I've heard people compare him to like RG3. And when I heard that, I was like, interesting. Like,
very much like RG3.
Yeah?
Very much.
If you give me RG3, even a mild RG3 season, that's pretty good.
Remember, RG3 came into the league before there was RG3s and Lamars. Mm-hmm. The league has adjusted now.
That's true.
The league has adjusted a lot. The league has seen that. That's nothing new. So now Jaden Daniels has to come into a league that has seen the likes of Lamar.
That's true.
And RG3. So that's my only issue.
No, go ahead. Last point.
That's pretty much it.
Real quick before we close out, who's the wide receiver 1 for the Texans?
That's a whole show. That's a whole nother show.
No, just say the name and we'll keep it moving. Nico. What about you?
Pass.
No.
Pass.
Hell no.
Pass.
Give us something.
Pass.
No. Come on, give us something.
Nico.
I think it's Tank.
Yo, look
Good night, everybody.
Hey, I'm not mad at the tank. I'm not mad at the tank.
All right, guys, please like, rate, subscribe. We're out.
Why is it that only with you things always go wrong? When yesterday you said it's me you looked for so long. We stayed up all night long,